Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. I am here with Laura White. Laura is a people and culture leader currently heading up the people function at Acacia Energy. With over 15 years of experience across Australia and in global roles, she helped businesses scale teams, expand into new markets, improve hiring practices, and builds inclusive people-first cultures. She brings a practical, people-centered approach to everything from talent strategy to organizational change. Laura is also ITA's Corporate Talent Leader of the Year 2022. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Alex. Great to be here.
I'm very excited for this. Obviously, known you for a number of years now, but tell us more about what you've been up to lately.
Right. Well, lately I've had a bit of a change in role and change in industry. So that's been exciting. After 6.5 years with Papercut Software, I've moved into the renewable energy space.
Hey.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I've joined Acacia Energy, and Acacia Energy is a portfolio company under Global Infrastructure Partners, which is a part of BlackRock, who are a huge global organization. But we are specifically at Acacia leading the energy transition by designing and rapidly deploying mega-scale battery storage solutions. So a little bit different from my days in print management.
Just a bit, isn't it?
Just a bit.
But it's very progressive. This is, so in November, the government brought out the Emerging Roles Report. And this space is one of the emerging, what's going on. And there's loads. So there must be some exciting work that you're doing there.
Yeah, I think all of this is necessary for us as, the globe to move in this direction and move away from coal power. And we know that most coal power stations around Australia have an end date in mind and they have to finish up. And so we really need to work out how do we make energy access more sustainable for everybody in the country. But the wonderful thing about Acacia is we've expanded globally pretty fast. So only been around for a few years, but already have operations in Japan, Singapore, the US, and exploring some other things around Europe and the Middle East at the moment too. So pretty exciting space.
Yeah. And what do you like most about these guys?
So having come from a traditional tech business, so being software, I had an idea in my mind that maybe there were some things that were unique to the software space, the kind of people-focused, people functions and initiatives and founder-led passion and cultures that were fostered through that kind of startup environment. My eyes have been opened that is not unique to the software industry, and that there are so many exciting things happening, and you just need to be able to uncover these growth industries. And I think that that's probably the key point, is looking for, areas of work where there is growth. So to your report, these emerging roles, they're typically in these growth industries because there's demand, but we don't quite have the level of talent that we need just yet.
Yeah. And that's always the conundrum, isn't it? It's we don't have the talent. It's like the chicken and egg. Because, in the report, we've got electronic vehicle technician, sustainability consultant, battery design specialist, energy engineer. There's some great roles and they are all up and coming. So what's Acacia doing then? So are you harnessing the battery power? Is it adding to the grid?
Yeah. So the mega scale batteries that we build, own and operate are essentially the same idea as when you have solar panels on your house and you install a battery to store some of that excess solar energy that you produce throughout the day to use at night when you no longer have the sun. We do that, but we do it on a grid scale. So we collect the excess energy throughout the day and we hold it there on charge for 3 or 4 hours at a time. And we will release it back into the grid when the demand is really, really high. And we need to kind of top up the grid so that we don't have unstable power networks, essentially. Yeah.
That's fascinating because it's the future as well, right? You look at everything around us. We're not in the industrial age anymore. It's the information age. And it's how can we be doing this? I was at a meetup the other night and it was saying the shocking statistic that only 5% of our public transport is electronic.
Yes.
And it's like Shanghai is like 50. So when they come over, they're like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, we have a few things, that are going against us, like the lead to the renewable energy kind of like the transition, and where we're at on that journey is definitely earlier in the piece than some. However, with things like the battery energy storage solution, so the BESS, so we call it a BESS.
Cool name.
We're very innovative, and we're seen as a market leader in this space, and it's come from a handful of very talented people from Australia and going global. So we can catch up, but we've got a few things against us, like the size of our country, the differences between infrastructure state by state, changing governments, et cetera, et cetera. We could go on.
Yes. And leaning into one of your points as well about the workforce as well, like what are you seeing out there in terms of workforce and demands?
We have, a lot of demand for people in STEM roles who are very senior. And we have a lot of these emerging technologies and emerging industries where people don't necessarily have that specific skill already. So a lot of the people who have come to work for Acacia have come from a slightly different background. They might have started their career in solar. They might have started their career in batteries for vehicles, for electric vehicles, and then they're making the transition across to the BESS industry because it's so new. And then we're also heavily investing in our interns and our kind of more junior entry level people to get them up to speed, because we're going to need more talent, more senior talent, and we need to find ways to give people the right experience. But essentially, I think one of the things for us is becoming more of a known industry as well. People, when they think about careers in technology or engineering, they might not think of energy as a place to grow their career and develop their skills. Or if they think of battery kind of systems, they might immediately go to Tesla or BYD or something related to electric vehicles and not think about grid energy and batteries. So there's a few different things that we need to do, I think, to get ourselves out there a little bit more and touch base with the right community so that they know that they've got opportunities here.
I agree. And it's people don't know what they don't know. So it's like going, hey, you are actually doing this. There is a career in it. This is the future as well. It's not like some made up, like, oh yeah, this would be a nice thing. This is that it's actually dominating the future of like, how can we be as more sustainable as humans?
Yes.
And so in terms of like the ideal people, like, is there a certain mindset you look for? Is there certain experiences? Like, talk to us more about STEM, because not everyone's heard that. Obviously I'm aware, but tell us more about this.
So one of the things I said earlier around thinking that those kind of growth industries or founder-led businesses where, values are really prominent and businesses care really a lot about their people, I thought might be unique to software or that kind of traditional tech. When you are in a growth industry, what I've realized is that level of adaptability and resilience is needed regardless. So anyone who is going to interview for a business that has founders, I think need to be prepared that there is a lot of passion, energy, and kind of personal commitment that comes along with building a business from the ground up. When those founders are still involved in the business, it's fantastic because they bring all of that passion with them, plus the knowledge of what's happened from day one, right? And that is gold. And that is fantastic context to onboard new people and try and get them up to speed really, really quickly. What happens is as you start scaling that business, and we're going through something similar here because we're about to reach that 150 mark, the connection in with those founders, or it might be, one or two founders, or it might just be the CEO, that becomes harder and harder, right? There's more degrees of separation between them and the new starters within the business. So then you need to start thinking about how do we support people to just understand from day one, month 2, month 3, kind of why are we here? What's our purpose? And also how have things been done? And I think where a lot of people in STEM, can thrive in this area is the devil's in the detail. We need to be documenting what we're doing so that future, incumbents and future generations understand why we've done things the way that we've done them, right? So, what is special about this type of culture when you're thinking about a scaling organization that has only started from scratch recently is you are a co-builder with your co-founders or your founder, and you need to have that mentality when you come into an interview, when you come into your first few months in the role. You need to align with them as quickly as possible and say, right, I'm here to help you build this. And it's a different mindset than just showing up as an employee every day.
That is incredible. I've never heard co-builder before. I really like that, because you're right. There's stages of separation, and sometimes when you get a bit more senior, you actually forget to relate to more junior. And it sounds to me that adaptability and resilience came in, as well as being pragmatic.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that has to be a choice for people who work in STEM based on where they're at in their career and how much they're willing to give to their growth and development. And a lot of that comes down to personal circumstances, your own personal values, your priorities, and just what's going on in the world at the moment. And I feel like a lot of teams and a lot of businesses are doing more with less, and there's an expectation on people to do more with less at the moment. So my advice to anyone who's looking to build a career in technology engineering, whatever it might be, is you need to look for a business that's going to be aligned with your personal values and your life circumstances for right now. And sometimes that means you might have to turn down the sexy kind of startup if you can't see yourself being able to truly commit.
Yeah. And that's a huge point about what I'm seeing with businesses is businesses have got a lot more lean. So that expectation is that people are doing more than usual, that specialist I'm seeing, it's evolving, like in the technical terms, you're not just a DevOps engineer. It's like back end and DevOps for anyone in that sector. And yeah, it'd be interesting. We had Jody on the show, and she's the co-founder at Tractor Ventures. And she's saying that companies got forced to be more lean, but now they're like getting a lot more profitable running on less like people. I don't know if you've seen that similar as well.
Yeah, I mean, there will always be kind of directions or pressures from the financial parts of the business to keep headcount a little bit lower or to control costs. I've always wanted to align myself with businesses who want to do things fairly. So whilst you might say, okay, we can't grow as rapidly as we would have liked, so we need to make some trade-offs here on what we can deliver over the next quarter or next half, we also each quarter are looking at market rates and making sure that our people are appropriately compensated for their commitment, for their time, for the value, right? Because, in the words of my very, very talented L&OD manager here, Ambra, it's a value exchange. It is the value that you bring and the value that the organization exchanges with you is really the contract that you're entering into. So it needs to feel balanced. So when I say we're doing more with less, and we are talking about running really, really lean, I'm also encouraging people, potential candidates and organizations to make sure that that's balanced. So investing in psychological safety, investing in learning and development opportunities, investing in flexibility, which means not forcing people to come back into the office 5 days a week. Being understanding of parents, right? Which, is something very dear to my heart with a 2-year-old. But understanding that people have a life, and if you want them to really commit to you and to, not only exchange their skills for your money, but also grow their skills, which means adding more and more value over time, you still need to be a people-focused organization whilst you're running lean.
And that's what always strikes me about you, Laura. You're always people first, people focused, people centric. Like even when we worked together before and you were like working on your practices and you've always been, let's talk about people first. You have this great blend of the business and the people, and it comes together to be like, it's 2025, the flexibility should be given.
Yes.
It's not like, hey, we need you here 5 days a week and this is why. It's like, people have got lives, but if they're co-building at a right level, it's like there's that mutual benefit.
You'll see it. We are so connected information age, like we are so connected. If someone isn't holding up their end of the proverbial bargain, then we're going to see it. There's no reason why we shouldn't treat them as adults and give them that respect in the meantime until they prove us otherwise. And that's why I've always thought that by having a people-focused outlook from the beginning isn't to the detriment of the business, because the business will see the results and the success through taking care of the people. I mean, it sounds so simple, but the way in which I've always practiced it is to do it in every conversation, right? So even when you're talking about the finances or the headcount or what trade-off we're going to make sure you have the people element in that conversation so that you're constantly bringing it back to the people. And that way you don't lose sight of it, and you don't have kind of one half of you trying to please the business and one half of you trying to take care of the people. Realistically, it's intertwined and you do both of them at once.
Yeah. And that's called functioning, isn't it? It's an art, though. It's an art that I respect. And anything bringing this into land, like anything you would love to share, anything you would love to advise anyone listening out there?
So I think when it comes to tech careers, either from the business's side or the candidate side, being more creative with the roles that we're putting out on the market and being able to target the right talent definitely is an art form. Speaking of art forms, we have so many growth industries within Australia that people don't even think about. The first thing that comes to mind if you're looking to grow a career in tech might be Canva or REA or those well-known brands. I think that the value comes from networking with people who are doing what you would like to be doing, because more often than not, those people don't actually work for those brands because only so many people can. And so what those people in your network can do is open you up to other industries and to other businesses that might be doing some cool things that you've never heard about. And then just going into those conversations with the mindset of this is kind of an experience or a journey that I'm about to head on. This isn't necessarily just me choosing who my next employer is as a business. I need to think about, what does my career look like 5 years from now? What value have they been able to add to my career? And from a business perspective, you need to be able to articulate that to the candidate, because we have been proven time and time again through study after study that it's not just the salary. It is an important part, but the flexibility and the care of the whole person and their growth and development while they're with you is really what can make or break that relationship.
Yeah, like I'm editing my second book at the moment, which is all about happiness. Mm-hmm. And the premise is that growth is happiness. Mm-hmm. So I love that point you make. It's like reverse engineer what your 5-year plan is, mm-hmm. look at who's in line with your values and see, does it match?
Yes.
And go and find the things that are close to your heart. Mm-hmm. Like, I love sustainability. Yes. I love all of those elements. And, it's easy for me to connect with those. But, if you're a gamer and you're into other, mm-hmm. go and look into that. There's many, the market here is brilliant. I think Melbourne is a great place where there's many different companies you can connect with.
Yes, we are very, very fortunate. So get out there and network would be my number one tip for people, because you don't know what you don't know. And people can introduce you to the most magical people that you wouldn't expect, and businesses. And that's how I came to be at Acacia. I was introduced through a recruiter coffee. Sounds like I've set it up, but I had a coffee with a recruiter who said, "Have you heard of this business before?" And I said, "I feel like I have, maybe." But then, she introduced me to the director here, and through those conversations, here I am. So yeah, we need to think holistically about the opportunities we go after, and make sure that it's something where we can see ourselves growing over the long term.
Yeah, that's a brilliant place to leave it. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to see how Acacia is going to grow. Like the fact that you've taken it into Japan and America already, and it's only the beginning. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.